Josie.
And we're here with Alyssa from Barren River District's Health Department.
So like she said, my name is Alyssa Stice. I work at the Barren River District Health Department. I'm a health educator, and one of the things that I do is tobacco and vaping education and prevention. So today, these ladies asked me to come do an interview about some questions.
So our first question we have is, what is vaping to you?
Okay, so vaping is a newer way that people are inhaling nicotine and other products such as THC. I would say it's more the cool and trending way. People don't typically, middle schoolers and high schoolers don't typically smoke cigarettes anymore. They vape.
What are the effects of it?
So vaping can have lots of effects. It could affect someone differently. You could vape every day and not have any side effects whatsoever. But then you could also be a person that vapes every once in a while, and you could develop issues with your lungs, develop bronchitis, asthma. It can cause brain fog. So it's more or less like if you're addicted to it and you don't hit your vape, then you need that in order to stay focused. It can also cause people to have anger or aggression if they're addicted to it. They could be irritable when they need their vape.
How safe is vaping?
So vaping is, like I said, because it's newer, the FDA has last time I've heard, they have a protocol where they're going to reevaluate it again. But there's different vapes, so there's a lot of loopholes and ways that they can go around making this seem like it's okay. It may be labeled as 0% nicotine, but in reality, when you test it with nicotine test strips, it still tests. It's just lower, but it still has it in it. So really, they're not safer than cigarettes. It's just advertised like that because people think they're getting that with none. It still has a lot of the same carcinogens that are in a cigarette, so it could be very harmful. We're still learning. So,
how bad can it be for young kids or even adults?
yeah, so just like secondhand smoke from cigarettes and thirdhand smoke, people are getting those effects from vapes too. So it can put kids in the hospital. I've watched quite a few testimonies of kids that are just like you guys, active, healthy, and then all of a sudden they're hospitalized because of it. And yeah, it can be really dangerous. Most kids are hiding it from their parents, obviously. So they might act like they have a little cold or a headache, and their parents have no clue.
Mm-hmm. Is vaping a gateway for smoking for young kids?
Yeah, so I definitely think so. They used to say that tobacco is a gateway drug, and what a gateway drug is a drug that people try, and they say it brings them into other things, so it interests them. So if someone becomes addicted, we know vapes have a higher nicotine percentage in a pod than tobacco cigarettes. We know that if that happens, then they're addicted to that. Let's say your friend brings their vape and you don't know that there's THC in it, which is in marijuana. Then you take that hit. Now you're craving that. What if it has fentanyl in it? So now you're wanting that. So definitely, yes, I could see that's a gateway drug. We know fentanyl is an opioid. So what do people typically do besides fentanyl? They typically do pills. So it could get someone interested in that and then possibly turn into a heroin addiction.
Don't most people who vape also continue smoking?
Not necessarily. So a lot of people, in statistics, it shows that if they vape, they may choose to vape because what's the main reason that people your age vape, right? They don't think they can get caught as easy because the smells, right? The taste. It's all about marketing and advertising. So we know that if it's advertised to taste like cotton candy and smell like cotton candy, our parents, our guardians aren't going to suspect it because it doesn't smell. However, there are studies and videos and documentaries that I've watched that kids who cannot get their vape, if they're that addicted to the nicotine, they will steal a cigarette from somebody to get what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is secondhand vapor harmful?
Yeah, so secondhand vape is just as harmful because we know that when you're pulling in that liquid, it's getting in your lungs, so that's firsthand. And then secondhand, yes, so we're still breathing in all those same carcinogens and toxins that you would if someone's smoking a cigarette around you.
What have you seen in the lungs of vapors versus non-vapors?
Yeah, so I have a video that we share when we do our presentation, and it just shows like a really cloudy white patches in the lungs. So gonna eventually cause issues when it comes to breathing. So asthma can happen. In one of the videos we show, like I said, this very active girl. She was a dancer. It was on, I think, ABC Night Line or whatever it's called, but she had to be hospitalized, and she thought she was going to die because all of a sudden she couldn't breathe, just like that. Because we don't know the effects that are inside of our body.
That's scary.
Yes.
What is something you want to tell kids about vaping?
So just because your friends are doing it doesn't mean you should try it. As a health educator, I talk about a variety of topics. So we know that STDs can be transmitted also from our mouth. So if we have a cut and there's some blood in there, someone hits your vape and you share it, we can spread STDs that are spread like that, such as herpes. Don't do it. Don't try it. It doesn't make you cooler. It doesn't make you less cool. Peer pressure is only a thing that really is going to affect you when you're younger. When you're an adult like me, you really don't care about those things. But when you're younger, you think that's all that matters. So just don't do it. If you do try it, remember there are other ways to stop it. So I have vaping cards that I've handed these ladies, and they'll put that in their presentation later. But yeah, don't feel pressured to do it just because your friends do it.
What are the long-term risks?
So long-term risk would be very similar to using any nicotine product. Mostly they're finding with vapes though that it's going to be affecting your lungs. Those carcinogens are going through your body and those toxins. So if you're putting those in your body long-term, it could cause cancer in other spots, not just your mouth. But lungs, your nose, you could get different types of cancers. And like we said earlier, with secondhand smoke and thirdhand smoke, you're also affecting the ones that you're around. We know that with cigarette smoke, we can have a film in a vehicle. If we smoke with the windows shut, same thing. So those effects could affect us later on in life, which we're still learning and the FDA is still figuring out. So.
And in the beginning, you said that with the brain, it can fog up. What other effects does it have?
Yeah, so what we're learning is that it's affecting lungs, obviously. It can cause anxiety. So just like anything else, a drug and addiction, so heart palpitations, someone could not have any anxiety whatsoever and have anxiety. It's going to cause mood swings because it's going to cause that irritability, which might not seem like a lot, but we know that middle school and high school, even younger, puberty. So your body is already going through so many changes, and your hormones and testosterone are already crazy. So that really could affect someone in their relationships.
How is vaping addictive?
So it could be the chemicals that's in it. We know that there could be nicotine. Like I said before, there is more nicotine in that pod than there is a pack of cigarettes. So people are not focusing on that. They have one vape. So they think, oh, I have one vape rather than if I have a pack of cigarettes, which has multiple in there. So it's gonna cause them to perceive that it's not as dangerous than it is. Yeah.
How long does nicotine stay in your system?
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that, but I know that it only takes a few seconds to get to the brain because nicotine is just as addictive. It's proven to be just as addictive as cocaine because of how quick it goes to your brain and your body absorbs it.
Is nicotine dangerous?
Yeah, so nicotine can cause nicotine poisoning. Babies can get nicotine poisoning. People that are younger, especially if they've never smoked, they have no tolerance to it, right? So they could smoke so much and get nicotine poisoning and die, be hospitalized. Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome? So sudden infant death syndrome typically happens before a child is 1 year of age, and one of the ways to limit that from happening, which could be biological and out of our control, but secondhand smoke is one of those things that could cause a child to have SIDS and die. So it could be from vaping as well.
Is it a myth? Does vaping help to quit smoking?
Yeah, so when vapes first came out, they were marketed, and I think that even physicians thought at one point this is going to help people to quit smoking tobacco products and using nicotine products and stuff. But over time, just like anything, what happens? It evolves. So we have the little vapes that say 0%, we have flavors, we have this and that. Vapes started out pretty big. People used to use e-hookahs too, And then now they've got so small to where they're compact, they could be in your sweatshirt, or they could be as small as a flash drive or a pen, just to hide. So it's a marketing technique, like I said before, but yeah, it was marketed like that at first, but then I think people figured it out to say, no, it's not. We know that the nicotine levels are higher, and then we know that people can put different things in their pods, which leads to the gateway drug.
That was our last question for you today. Thank you for all the information you gave us today, and you were a great guest.
Thank you guys.
Bye.